What's up, Chuckers? Producer Mike here. This is Served 5-Setter, your weekly roundup of all things Racket Sports. 5 stories in 10 minutes or less. Before we get into it, please hit subscribe on YouTube or give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform so you can stay up on all things served. We really appreciate the love and support. That said, today is Friday, May 15th, 2026, and here's what we've got for you. Fumo Aroma. Also, the Hogs are back, baby. Plus, Musa and Jack ride again. And finally, Castle coring into the French. Now first. We are starting in Rome, where Jannik Sinner did something no player in the history of the ATP Masters 1000 series has ever done. By beating Andrei Rublev 6-2, 6-4, Darth Sinner earned his 32nd consecutive Masters 1000 win, breaking the all-time record previously held by one Novak Djokovic, a mark Nole held for nearly 15 years. As this episode drops, Sinner will be taking on Medvedev in the semifinals on Friday. If Sinner goes on to win the semi, and then the final on Sunday, he will become only the second man in history to win all 9 Masters 1000 events. Of course, Djokovic is currently the only player to have done it. Oh, and by the way, he did it twice. Hopefully people will realize how good Novak is someday. Sinner is obviously aware of the history he is making, but had this to say after his win over Rublev.
I don't play, for records. I play just for my own story, and obviously in the same time it means a lot to me, but tomorrow is another day, another opponent, a different opponent. We're going to play in different conditions. It's going to be night match, so let's see. But, now for me, the highest priority is to trying to recover as much as I can physically, and then we'll see how it goes.
Classic Yannik. For the women's final preview, head over to the newsletter where Megan breaks down the matchup that will be decided on Saturday. Now staying in Rome for set number 2, where the tournament experienced some unusual delays Wednesday night. The quarterfinal matchup between Italian Luciano Darderi and the 19-year-old Spanish sensation Rafa Hodar had its start time pushed back due to rain, forcing the players off the court until just before 11 p.m. local time. However, that was not the delay that made the headlines. Late in the first set, Hodar leading 6-5, smoke starts pouring onto the court. The players could not see, and the play was forced to stop. The source of the smoke? Fireworks from the Coppa Italia soccer final that was happening 500 meters away at the Stadio Olimpico. Inter Milan beat Lazio 2-0, and the fireworks were set off from the stadium to celebrate. The smoke drifted directly onto Campo Centrale, obscuring player vision and even knocking out the electronic line calling system. The delay lasted nearly 20 minutes, and during the delay, Darderi was spotted at his chair, drinking espresso, because why not? He's Italian. So finally, when play resumed, Darderi took the first set in a tiebreak, lost the second, missing out on 2 match points, but then closed out the match, winning the third 6-0 at 2:02 in the morning. Here's what Darderi had to say afterwards.
I think it's the best win of my career because of the crowd, everything here in Rome. First time in the semifinals, so it's a dream to play here.
Congrats to Darderi, who's on to his first Masters 1000 semifinal, where he will face Casper Ruud on Friday. Set number 3 brings us a major update on a story we've been covering for weeks. On Thursday, the University of Arkansas announced it is reinstating both the men's and women's tennis programs, effective immediately. This comes just 20 days after the same athletic department announced it was shutting them both down at the end of the spring season. The reason for the reversal? A group of alumni and tennis lovers banded together and raised over $5 million. The funding is reportedly a blend of upfront commitments and pledges over the next 2 years. As a reminder, the annual cost on paper for both programs is roughly $2.5 million. In a statement on the school's website, Arkansas Athletic Director Hunter Yurachek had this to say about the reversal of their decision. Quote, "We are thankful for our generous donors that have stepped forward in recent days with commitments to provide short-term funding for both programs. While this support does not represent a permanent solution, it offers a viable path forward." Yurachek was very clear in his statement, this is short-term funding. Long-term play is a significant endowment, and a group of supporters are in the process of making that happen. Newsletter Megan and Techie Sean got to talk with Razorback tennis alumni Simon Robinson, a key member of the team that raised the money to save the program. Here's what he had to say when asked about the effort and the challenges they faced when trying to save tennis in Fayetteville.
It was just a collaborative team effort of people that love the game of tennis that just couldn't stand watching this program go away. So really, if you ask me what the obstacle was, the obstacle to me was we knew we could raise the money, but would the university reinstate the program? Would they do that? And we're just so grateful that they did and that they've given us a second chance.
For the full conversation with Simon Robinson, head over to the newsletter to hear more on what they plan to do to support Razorback tennis long term. Set number 4 takes us to a reunion of sorts that I think we're all pretty excited about. On Tuesday, Jack Draper announced that he has parted ways with coach Jamie Delgado and will now work with 3-time singles Grand Slam champion Sir Andy Murray. It is worth noting that Delgado famously used to coach Murray himself, so Andy is literally replacing his own guy. This is the second coaching stint for Murray. The first was with Novak Djokovic. That started at the end of 2024 and lasted roughly 6 months. Sadly, no titles, and it ended in a handshake. Now, Andy's appointment as Draper's coach is being called a great move by one insider, though we should mention that that insider is his brother, Jamie Murray. So make of it what you will. Jamie had this to say.
There's no one better qualified to kind of I guess understand what Jack will be going through. So yeah, I think it's an exciting appointment.
Biased or not, he is probably right. We look forward to seeing Jack back on the court, and honestly, off the court, if we are all lucky, we'll get more of this content. This has the makings of the funniest British duo since Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. If you know, you know. And yes, we have saved the best for last, Chuckers, your Roland Garros preview. Quick plug, go sign up for the Serve Bracket Challenge. You will not want to miss out on the opportunity to play against Andy and JW in picking the French Open winners. Head to servepodcast.com and click on bracket to do so. The tournament starts May 24th, and here's a quick look at the field. 2 big players from last year's French Open are out. Carlos Alcaraz, obviously, with a wrist injury, and Lorenzo Musetti with a thigh injury, hurt during the round of 16 loss to Casper Ruud in Rome on Tuesday. That is half of last year's semifinalists gone before the draw is even set. One player who is returning, Taylor Fritz, who missed out on Monte Carlo, Madrid, and Rome with chronic knee tendonitis. Fritz is scheduled to return to play on Monday in Geneva as the top seed and is still in the draw for Roland Garros. Fritzie's comeback is not the only headline that he has generated this week. A social post started making the rounds where he was kitted out in a full costume at a Renaissance fair. Yes, the world number 7 has taken advantage of his downtime. We have seen him posting about training hard, but he is also housing a turkey leg and chucking axes. There are so many layers to Taylor Fritz. Apparently, he has gone full castle core, which, if you think about it, might be a form of method preparation, as French monks are credited for inventing tennis in the 11th century. Taylor Fritz is simply returning to the source material, and I respect it. It is good to have him back no matter the century. The last bit ahead of RG, Venus Williams, 45 years old, is returning to Roland Garros for the first time since 2021. She'll be playing women's doubles with Haley Baptiste, who is 21 years her junior. I cannot wait to watch this duo in action. As a reminder, stay tuned for next week's regularly scheduled Serve episode and the French Open Draw Special, which comes out later next week. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Now this leads us to our tie-break trivia. As we said earlier, Sinner's Masters 1000 win streak record at the time of this recording is at 32. The previous record of 31 was held by Novak Djokovic. The question, who was Djokovic playing when that streak came to an end at the Cincinnati Open Final in 2011? The answer is in this week's 5-setter newsletter, plus the stories that did not make the cut, including Carlitos going couture and pickleball's $225 million investment. Head over to servepodcast.com or find us on Substack. Remember to hit subscribe on YouTube or follow us on your favorite podcast platform. And as always, thank you to Techie Sean, Newsletter Megan, and the whole team here at the office. We will see you Chuckers on Tuesday.